We're going to drain the swamp of corruption. Drain the swamp. And that's what we're doing. We are going to Washington, D.C., and we are going to drain the swamp.
Is Harvey Barnard from the Nesara organization. Nesara stands for National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. It's a package that Harvey has put together, and he joins us in studio today.
I'm a systems troubleshooter. I take a look at a system for my clients and decide what's wrong, what are the problems. And we've got some real problems in this country. This time next year, we're looking at a $6 trillion debt. Nesara is the only bill out there that says we get rid of $1 trillion worth of debt up front.
Drain the swamp, and that's what we're doing.
Hi, I'm Dionese Gerbrecht, D for short. As you may know, my father was Harvey Francis Barnard, author of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act. We can clear up a misconception right there. It is stabilization.
How's it going, everybody? FCB here. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing fantastic. And I hope you're all in amazing spirits. And welcome, D. Welcome.
Hey,
I'm so excited.
You? Oh, man, this is great. This is just wonderful. That made me feel really good.
Basically, awesome. What do you think when you saw that intro? Doesn't it capture the essence?
Oh, it captures the essence of everything. That he was about, and the truth of his life. So I'm blown away.
Oh, look, great. I just, when I was putting that intro together, I was thinking, real sort of, that bluesy sort of style music, that
was great. That would have been, and it's got that little Western tint to it. And that's something that he really would have liked, because he just, I'm changing something on my screen here. That was right. He loved the West. Their favorite place was Colorado, and also lived in California for a while and in North Dakota. So perfect.
Look, I had to capture the voice as well. I think there was a great add-on.
That was great.
With the interview.
Yeah.
What did you think?
I told you the story about that cassette? Did I tell you the story about when I started unpacking that box in the trunk that came out of my mom's attic? There was that cassette tape that was in there. And my husband, his family's in music and stuff. So he had an old cassette player, and he popped it in and was standing in the kitchen, and I started listening to it. And he said, "Are you okay?" And I said, "I haven't heard my dad's voice in 20 years, So it was a treasure. It was just such a treasure to have that,
Oh, that's fantastic, Dee. Yeah. That's fantastic. So I'm glad that you liked the intro.
Yeah.
And one thing, the Nesara, and we talk about the real Nesara, not the pseudo Nesara. People are going to know what the truth is. That's what this
exactly.
This first show is called what? Facts versus Myths, right?
Right.
And we're going to obviously go through what is fact and what is myth. Okay. And we're going to use all the facts, evidence, and receipts that we have. Now, Nesara was created by your father, and whatever he created was for the betterment of for America. Yes. That's what it was for.
Yeah, that's what he wanted. Yeah. He wanted, he saw monetary rights as a natural right. Just like inalienable rights, as Bible would say, the thing, right? So that's the way he viewed it. And he wanted a return to that system, to give a sound monetary system from top to bottom that was fair for everybody.
Yep. And as you know, we are in Q. Well, we speak about Q, but we say knowledge is power, and the only way you're going to empower people is with the truth, right? And that's what we're going to be doing, empowering people with the real truth. And also, welcome, by the way, to the family, to the Freedom Channel broadcast family, and to God's Army.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. I want to thank you. I want to thank your team, and everybody who's listening, watching right now. I am so grateful. You have no idea. I have been at this for a couple of years now, just talking to people, trying to get people to listen, and it's been disappointing. It's been frustrating, and many times I just said, I'm going to give up. And just in the last couple of weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, I'm on a show, the real.
This is your show, darling.
This is a real show. Being able, having the opportunity to spread the truth and to help people, and you just have no idea how grateful I am. It's my honor. It's our honor. And by the way, welcome to your show. This is your show now. So there you go. We're swapping sides. Oh, we're swapping sides.
This is your show. This is your baby now. And look, we're in this together. Where we go on, we go Oz,
Right.
And, did you see what happened the other day? Just a real quick one. You know how
go ahead.
We know what that means, right? We say where we go on, we go. We're all in this together, right?
Yes, I'm very familiar.
Did you see, like I said it yesterday on the Pulse, that the president, Putin's Russian envoy, the one that's close to him, okay, his name's Dmitriev, I think it is, Kirill Dmitriev. Now, he happens to run the Russian Sovereign Fund, and he's like one of the right-hand men of President Putin, and he put out on his his X, where we go one, we go all.
Really?
Yes. Yes.
That's interesting. That is very interesting.
They're working together.
Yeah,
they're working together.
Well, that was always the theory, wasn't it? That they were working together in some manner. So, that's great. Glad to hear that.
And then you had President Trump on his Truth Social attach a picture with him holding a Q+ in his hand. And then General Flynn came out on Truth Social and said, I'm glad he had the cojones to do it. So there you go. It's all coming out.
It's cut. Yeah. Getting that confirmation. That's what it's all about.
And you know what? When I think about when he says, drain the swamp, that's what comes to my mind.
I know. You can't make this up, as they would say. You can't make it up. So,
you can't.
Yeah. Real quick, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to some of my family, Jan, Greg, Carolyn, and Denise. Thanks for joining us. I know they're out there watching, and I just wanted to say hello. So, you ready?
Yeah, let's go for it, love.
Let's get started.
It's your show. Let's go for it.
Okay. So tonight, like I said, we wanted to get into the book, and we wanted to start dissecting it a little bit, and to keep in the theme of myths versus facts. The chapter for tonight is the afterword, called the Nesara story. And if you have your paperback, it is page 338 in the paperback and 322 in the Kindle. And so I want to talk about this chapter. I'm going to read some excerpts, and I'm going to look at it kind of from a different angle than FCB has been looking at it, but it's equally important, as I think. I want to tell you a little bit about my background. For the last 12 years, I have worked in the behavioral health industry, and I'm not a counselor or a psychologist or anything like that, but I rub elbows with some of the best. And so I've picked up things here and there. And that's what got me to thinking when I read this chapter. I said, I want to look at it from a different angle. Okay. So the first thing I've got going for us, I've got it up on the screen. Let me see here.
Oh, okay. Let me just bring your screen in.
Okay. You got my side screen there?
Yep. I'll just bring it up there.
There you go. All right. I don't know if I need to enlarge that a little bit for everybody to read it. Okay. Basically, this is just a summary of the chapter for people who haven't had a chance to read it. It's not a very long chapter, but I'm just going to read this to you real quick. Okay. Summary of the afterword, John Tiffany, the Nesara story. Now, John Tiffany wrote this chapter for the book. The best I can been able to determine, according to Jean, that's my mom's name, Jean, that John Tiffany was an editor or one of the people that wrote an article about Harvey. I know you had some pictures of those newspaper articles, and he was associated with that. And he took an interest, and so he wrote this chapter, and it went in the 2005 edition. So, okay, it says the afterword examines the rise of the pseudo-Nesara phenomenon, contrasting it with Harvey Barnard's original Nesara bill. Tiffany argues that the spread of the conspiracy version stems from humanity's long-standing attraction to utopian promises and Masonic figures. He notes how blind faith and the desire for a savior create fertile ground for cult-like movements. In the chapter highlights Sinead Goodwin, the Dove of Oneness, hijacked Barnard's academic proposal, transforming it into a fantastical narrative involving secret laws, extraterrestrials, reptilian conspiracies, and miraculous wealth distribution. Tiffany critiques the financial exploitation tied to this movement, prosperity programs, donation requests, and billboard campaigns, as well as its global reach through websites, media, and even films like Waiting for Nesara, which you have, just done a great deal of work exposing that. Ultimately, while the pseudo-Nesara generated attention, it also obscured the real Nesara reforms, leaving many unable to distinguish substance from hoax. And that's where we are. Tiffany situates this within broader cultural trends, from alternative religious narratives like the Da Vinci Code to the disillusionment with traditional institutions, arguing that Nesara's appropriation is both a reflection of spiritual yearning and a cautionary tale about belief without evidence. So, I put this together and I thought, here are my questions when I read this chapter. And I've got the three main questions. But before I get into those, I want to make a very clear distinction. So if you've got your books, I did not do a screenshot on this, so I'm going to rely on people who've got their books, but I'm going to read it to you. It is on page 344 in the paperback. It is the last three paragraphs in the book, and it's very important that we make this distinction. Waiting for Nesara, running about 85 minutes, combines one-on-one interviews with footage of open mind forum meetings and discussions among members about world events and UFO reptilian conspiracies. Dove does not appear, except as a subject of discussion and in excerpts of her recorded voice reports. While the film is frequently amusing, it does not mock its subjects, nor do the people at the Nesara Institute. It would be impossible to criticize the goals of the true believers. They have time and again demonstrated their enthusiasm to achieve those goals with generous donations of energy and resources. One thing is for sure, there has probably never before been a phenomenon quite like the remarkable explosive growth of Nesara websites and other Nesara media. Now, to kind of sum that up, there needs to be this clear distinction made. We know who the grifters are. We know what their motivation is, okay? But the people that support this and have supported them and followed them are good people. They're good, hardworking people. They have dedicated their time and their energy and money to this. They're no different than me or you, okay? And so I just want to make sure that that's clearly divided. Right. So we're not here to question anybody or your beliefs or anything like that. So, but tonight, the three questions that I want to get into are, one, why do people dream of and look for a utopian society? What are the motivations? What are the reasons behind that? The second thing is, why do we continue to follow leaders and gurus time and time again if we're disappointed? They don't deliver. There's no results. There's no evidence, but yet we still continue. We still follow. And the last question is, how did we get here? I mean, how did we get here from a man walking down the halls of Congress trying to share his ideas and his bill to what we'll discover in Michael Barkham's work, a super conspiracy? So a little bit different angle, but I hope that it'll help shed some light on things. So,
That's the questions there, isn't it, D? I think. Is that the ones
Yeah.
you're talking about? Yeah.
yeah, that's it. Oh, yeah, you got it. Okay, let me.
Yeah.
I'm going to get rid of this one right here, and I'm going to go ahead and bring this up on my screen over here so I can refer to it as
Mhm.
well. In case I need to look either way. Okay. All right. So for the first question, like I said, why do people search for utopia? And I referred to Lyman Sargent, who was a professor at the University of Missouri in St. Louis. And, this is what he did. He wrote many books on utopian societies and development and that type of thing. And so he came up with 3 really good reasons on why people, that's Leon Festinger.
Sorry. Okay.
That's
so
okay.
is this,
Yeah. Now go back to,
no.
that's
no,
Michael. There should be a third one. You got a third?
Okay.
Lyman.
Right. Okay.
There
Lyman.
you go. There's Lyman. Okay.
I'm a bit rusty, darling. Don't worry. We'll get there in the end.
Look, I am no person to criticize, to throw stones. Absolutely. So now the first thing you'll see on the screen here, I have a quote from the Draining the Swamp. But there's Lyman's credentials, and we can see that he was well-renowned and knew what he was talking about when we talk about utopian societies and the reasons for them. The quote from the book that kind of prompts this question, it's on the very first page, and it says, it is a very old dream, the idea of a perfect world, an ideal state in which there is no misery, no greed, no danger or poverty, no brutal labor, and no war. And that's directly from Draining the Swamp. So Lyman here, I'm going to look at his 3 explanations of why people look for utopian societies. He argues that utopias reflect humanity's persistent yearning for a better world, even when perfection is unattainable. The utopian tradition rests upon a fundamental human desire, the dream of a better life, the hope that things can be improved and that misery is not inevitable. And I think this is common to every human walking the face of the earth. Everybody wants the utopian society, the no stress, the carefree, almost childlike existence, right? So that's just a natural thing that people, express or have. The second reason that he attributed to the need or the desire for utopian society was a critique of the present. Okay, so people aren't happy with what they have, right? So you hear people say all the time, there ought to be a law. We ought to change this. We ought to change that. So the desire for a utopian society is as much reflection of the unhappiness in the present society as it is a wish for something better. Okay. And the third way, it was to imagine alternatives, daydream. People like to daydream about what's different. And he says, utopianism is the dream of a different way of being, a refusal to accept what is given as inevitable. Recurrent appeal despite failures. Even when utopian projects collapse, the desire resurfaces in new forms because it speaks to the deep psychological and cultural needs, which brings us back to one, which is what everybody wants, this carefree world. Now, when you take that and you apply it to the pseudo Nesara, Sargent helps explains why so many people clung to it despite the implausibility. It embodied hope, critique of injustice. Of course, when you talk about the taxation, the debt, the government corruption, and the imagination of an alternative way of being. Okay, so coming from the mindset, of everyday Americans that we desire this, we want something better for us, for our kids, for our grandkids, and that type of thing. The next question that I had, and this was also prompted by the quote in the book. I don't know if you have this up on the screen or not, but
Which one is it?
Okay, this is that long one. This is the long one.
This one here? Oh, sorry, I got it right here. I'm going to get used to my screens. Here we go.
Okay.
This one? Yeah. Okay.
Go
What are
down.
we up to?
Okay, keep going. Keep going. Next page. Right
Oh, you
there.
got 7 pages. Okay.
I got some more pages. Okay. So, why do people cling to the same leader even after failure? The quote in the book says most people seem to look for a savior, a messiah, a utopia, a holy grail. Since time out of mind, people have followed prophets who have promised that a new world is coming. They have generally been disappointed, but surprisingly often continue to follow the same guru. Now, to kind of give me some direction on this, I consulted Leon Festinger's When Prophecy Fails, and you may have some of his credentials up there. I don't know if you want to show that before we continue.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
What there?
Yeah. That's just no. That's the first
sorry.
one. Okay, so go to
I'll get this one.
Yes.
Okay.
He was the I would say founder or father of what we call a cognitive dissonance theory. That sounds complicated and like a lot of big words, but I'll explain it. It's really simple. Very well published.
Cognitive dissonance.
He knows what he's talking about. He knew what he was talking about.
Cognitive dissonance is
Theory.
basically when you come to a point, and then you challenge all your whatever you believed in the.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Cognitive dissonance there is a conflicting belief. Okay, so I'll give you an example. It's when your actions go contrary to your belief. In other words, here we go. I smoke. I like to smoke. I know that it's unhealthy, but I do it anyway. So what I do in my mind is I rationalize that. All right. Oh, it's not so bad. I diminish the possible consequences, things like that. So that's basically just really simple what cognitive dissonance theory means. And that was his idea. So back to the page here, the psychology of disconfirmation. When prophecies fail, and his main study was on a UFO cult, believers often double down instead of abandoning their belief. And this explains like the theory we were just talking about. There are several things that support that. Now, here's one that I find, interesting. Abandoning the prophecy would mean admitting they were wrong. So they resolve to cling to the leader's message, despite the evidence in their face. Okay, so that lends to the internal pride and ego, right? We're going to stay on this train, even though we kind of think it's wrong, but we're here. So, the next thing that he pointed out in this study he did on this UFO cult was the search for a savior or messiah. And cult members saw their leader as a messenger from a higher power, promising salvation from imminent destruction. This aligns exactly. I'm going to go back to this. With the quote on the book that I just read earlier, a savior, a messiah, a utopia, a holy grail. It aligns exactly with Festinger's observation that prophetic movements thrive because followers are predisposed to hope for rescue, transformation, especially during uncertain times. Right? So it's the idea that someone is coming to save us. Okay. It relinquishes me of the responsibility. I don't have to worry about it. All I have to do is follow, and all will be well. Okay. Hope for a new world. This was another point of his. Believers were told that a new world was coming after the destruction of the old one. This was part of his study in the UFO cult. And so they believed that. Even after the prophecy failed, they reframed the outcome, saying, our faith saved the world. Do you see where I went there? Okay, so the people in there were saying, okay, the prophecy has failed. The world didn't end, but that's because we believe so strongly and we saved the world. It's a little twist there.
Sounds like the excuse books that they got, you know what I mean? You know how they got the day promises and they got 10,001 excuses at hand?
Yes. Yeah. And there's always something. It's always something, which, should be kind of a major tip off there. And you scroll down to the bottom of the page or the next page up where I'm going to wrap up.
This one or this one?
Yeah. Okay. So no, not that one.
Not this one?
Yep. Go down. I just want people to be able to read along if they want to
Sure.
see where I'm getting my information, so they don't think I'm just me. Okay. This is just me. Okay.
Where do I go?
So there's okay, right? You're in the perfect spot. Connection to the quote. So this is how his work ties back to the quote in Draining the Swamp. The line about prophets promising a new world is coming mirrors the cult's expectations. Both show that utopian promises are powerful motivators capable of surviving repeated disappointments. I want to notate here at the very bottom, we can draw parallels to other cults. Okay.
Mhm.
Jim Jones in Jonestown.
Oh, yeah.
David Koresh, Heaven's Gate. Okay. So I'm not criticizing anyone. I'm just saying that these things parallel the same pattern. Right.
Mhm.
Okay. So that gives us an explanation or at least some insight into why people continue to follow the leaders that fail to produce. Right.
Well, it makes perfect sense, and if I can bring something to the
Yes,
table,
please,
if I
please.
may,
Mhm.
okay, because I've been doing my research, as you know, I like to do research like you do.
I know you do.
Okay, and we base things on facts, evidence, and receipts as we always do. Now, who took it on board to create the pseudo Nesara was the Dove of Oneness, aka
Mhm.
Shanae Goodwin. Let's
Correct.
look at her little history, shall we? Okay, I think it's very important to be able to. We'll connect the two up.
Yeah,
right?
let's connect the two. Mhm.
Okay, so as you can see, this is from Wikipedia, right? And it says the double oneness was later identified as Shanae Candace Goodwin, a former student of the Ramthas School of Enlightenment. Now, that school exists. That's where she came from. That's where she got her teachings. So there, I decided, me, to go and do a little bit of digging. And her school is in Washington State, and it's still there, by the way. I'll just give you that's right there. So that's in Washington State. Right there. That's where it's located. Now, who's Ramtha? That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Ramtha is basically, it's a entity. So it's an entity that this lady channels. Okay, so the teachings of Ramtha are unique science. Okay, this is from their website. Now, here we go about Ramtha. This lady channels a certain entity known as Ramtha, and apparently this entity lived as a human being, right, who once lived here and, on obviously Earth, have a very dynamic story to tell. I'm here to lead my people from being asleep to waking up and doing something with this life that is original, making the unknown and marching out of this abyss into the greatness, right? This is the lady. Her name is J.Z. Knight. She was actually born in Roswell, Mexico, in New Mexico. We know what was there too, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I'm talking about the UFOs.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Yeah. So she comes from a family of migrant farm workers. She was the 8th child in the family, picking cotton, all that sort of thing. And she's, obviously have an American accent. But no, when she channels Ramtha, he apparently got some sort of English accent. You know what I mean? So her accent changes. And, yeah, her profession, she gives us a little bit of a breakdown as to one day, all of a sudden Ramtha appeared from nowhere. Right? Sorry, I can't. Ramtha's choice.
Different beliefs.
Yeah. Ramtha's choice to channel his message through a woman rather than using his own physical body is making the statement. The phenomenon of channeling. So she channels this being, and apparently was a human being once upon a time, is made possible. Therefore, channeling as it happens is in this person known as J.Z. Knight. And she's established the School of Enlightenment. And you can see that is exactly where the Dove of Oneness came from. What do you want to add to that?
I don't know if I have anything to add to it. I mean, it's nice to know where, Dove got her, cut her teeth, I guess is what another term. But
It's
You
right
know,
there.
that's their belief and that kind of stuff. Now, I don't have anything negative to say about that, other than it's one thing to have these kind of beliefs. uh, It's another thing altogether to take money from people.
Oh
Right?
no,
There's the
yes,
two separate things here. I can believe in anything I want. Like I told you early on, there are only three things you own in this life: your time, what you believe, and your word. All right. So, but when you take that and then try to bilk people out of money, that's a whole nother situation.
you know the thing is, I mean, this lady's obviously. If you see the school, it's huge.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of people that obviously are her students, and she's making a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? That goes hand in hand, right?
Mhm.
And what she's doing is she's using people's goodness. Do you know what I mean? Like what you think about what do they do? People want something better,
Right. Just like we were
right?
talking
And
about.
in comes like this lady, and she offers that something better, but at a price. Obviously, everything is at a price.
Everything's at a price. Yeah.
And that's where I know that she would have double oneness or Akashane Candace Goodwin would have learned off her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what I'm
Right?
saying.
Can you
That's
see
where
the
she learned
connections
her-
that I'm trying to
that's
make?
what- yeah, that you're trying to make that. And also I said that's where she cut her teeth. So that's where she may have learned the skills that she needed. And when she saw the opportunity, she said, this is my ticket. I can take this and run with it. Especially if you consider the fact that, okay, so 96, the bill went out into the public domain. It was out there with limited funds, and actually in the chapter, the afterwards in the Sarah story, the one we're talking about tonight, John Tiffany discusses that how Harvey is out here working with little or no funds, and she is out there just soliciting thousands upon thousands of dollars from people on a pseudo Nesara, and her movement was more popular and got more press, et cetera, than Harvey's did. Right? So, it's
Well,
it's sad.
she didn't just go national, love. She went global.
Eventually she went global. Yeah, eventually
Yeah,
she
she
went
did.
global. Right. But okay, so you take that, and up to 2005 when Harvey died, then again, there was this vacuum. Like you said, in my story, I tell you, my mom and I packed the stuff up and went on with our lives. So there was no one to contest their story. All right. Until I decided, I said, okay. And I got enough inquiries, and I'm not saying there was no one to contest it, because I had people contact me from around the world buying the hardback, which while I'm holding one up, let me make this distinction. This is a hardback edition of Harvey's book. This is one of the ones he had printed in 2005. These are one of the ones that was in the attic. Okay. When I started this, I sold these, and I still have a few left that I sell on eBay only for $300. Okay. Now, one of the reasons I got started is because people had bought these books and they were selling them for $800. Right. I said, that's not what Harvey wanted. I will never print another hardback again. These people have invested their money, and I want it to hold its value.
Sure.
But yeah, they were up in the attic. So they, like I said, there was nobody to contest their story until we jumped back.
Well, let me just show you a little bit more on this. So this is their website, right?
Mhm.
And they've got a whole thing going on, like teachers or whatever you want to call them, lecturers, whatever they are. And they do classes, and they do all this. Look, you can see it's pretty much, it's like a whole thing going on over there,
Mhm.
right? So this is where she came from. So it's very important to realize the makeup of this lady, how she came to be.
Right.
Now, look at this. So you've got all these different teachings, all that. But as I said, yeah, okay. It's good to know what you want to believe in. That's all your choice. But when it comes to a lot of money, there's a lot of money being spent here.
Mm-hmm. And that's different. And are you doing it knowing? Okay. I don't know anything about Ramtha, but I can tell you, she knew, I'm talking about Goodwin, knew what she was doing. This was not, she didn't make a mistake or, think that this was her. She knew what she was doing. And that's a whole different ballgame.
Well, she's basically, you think about it, the double oneness, or she's built everything from here because she was this former student. Right. And obviously all these principles and knowledge and how to do what she did obviously came from this lady. You know what I mean? And look, we know that she was also involved in other cons, like the Omega Trust, which is to do with Clive Hood, and we covered that.
Right.
Now, what they've done is they've rebadged everything and they've re-brought it forward. And it's like this. When there's always a crisis, like during the double oneness, it was 9/11.
Yeah.
Move forward 2020, and we've got that COVID crisis, right? Then they rebadged everything, repolished everything. And then also remember that movie Changes on the Horizon by James Rink. In 2012, we had another sort of crisis. Remember about the world coming to an end with the Mayans.
Right.
Do you see what I mean? There's a consistent pattern.
There's a consistency. And that's what I'm going to cover in this next section. With my third question, when I was reading the chapter or, going over it again, there was a quote in there, and I said, I'm wondering. So go back to the screen with the long.
Yes,
okay,
I will do that now.
Let's jump into this real quick.
Let me just sort this out. Okay, right there. Whoops. Hold on. Oh, no, I went in the wrong screen. Here we go. Is that the one?
Yeah, go down.
Oh, that's number 7. Let's keep going back up,
no.
you mean?
No, you're going in the right direction. You should have some more below that, I think.
I've only got 7. Here we go.
Oh, there it is. Okay. That's where we are. That's where we are.
Okay.
So my other question was, and how did we get from Harvey walking down the halls of Congress to where we are now? Okay.
Did he get a gun to his head by any chance along the way when he was going the walks in Congress? Did he get a gun to his head to release Nesara?
No.
Sorry, I had to add that one.
Okay. No. And, there's a quote in the book about a CIA, I can get to it later, but it's about CIA and the Bush backing the Nesara Institute. I have direct documented evidence to combat that. But let's talk about this. Okay, conspiracy culture and religious syncretism. Believers say that Nesara promises forgiveness of all debt, elimination of the IRS, world peace, the abandonment of current government and its replacement with deities, and unity with our space brethren. Now, that's when they're talking, John Tiffany's talking about the pseudo-Nesara. And he said, this is what they're claiming. Okay, so my question is, why do conspiracy theories often blend political, financial, and religious elements? And I found this guy, Michael Barkin, who we do have his credentials up there if you want to share them.
Yep, let me just grab that.
Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that and do that first. We'll jump back.
What was his name again?
Michael Barkin.
That one there.
Yeah, this guy, he did extensive work on the birth of conspiracy theories. I believe he had either worked with the FBI and the CIA. He learned how these things get evolved and are born. And so I found his work pretty fascinating. So yeah, he knows what he's talking about. I think he was I don't know if he was Missouri University. That was the other guy that was at Missouri. There was two of them went to the University of Missouri and taught there. But I don't think it was Barkin.
Well, just to interject there just real quickly.
Yeah.
The word conspiracy theory was created, and I've got all the facts and some receipts on that, was done by the CIA, right? So it was to push anyone that had during the time of JFK, anyone that went against the narrative, that were labeled that particular label, right? Now, that label is carried on. Now, I believe in facts, right?
Yeah.
I believe in facts and receipts. The reason why we call conspiracy theorists because a lack of facts and receipts. You know what I'm saying, Dee?
Yeah.
That's why they use that label. And what have these entities done? What these entities done is basically reinforce that label. and they've painted us with the same brush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the reality right there.
Right. Yeah. And Michael gives examples and he shows how this happens, how this spreads. And what you were alluding to in some of the earlier investigative work that you did about the spider web and how
Yes.
it transcends all of this stuff. And I said, well, here's the confirmation of exactly what you were saying. You got that screen? Go back to the screen.
Okay. Yep.
Okay.
Right there.
No, the outline.
Oh, this one here.
Yes, sir. Okay.
Okay.
So he did a book, The Culture of Conspiracy, 2003, and he shows how fringe beliefs mix disparate themes. Excuse me. Aliens, finance, apocalypse. Argues that fringe belief systems often blend disparate themes, which is what you were talking about.
Mhm.
Religious prophecy, political paranoia, and extraterrestrial lore, and what he termed were super conspiracies. He explains that in this culture of conspiracy, boundaries between ideas collapse. So you have UFO sightings connecting with biblical prophecy. Financial reform merges with apocalyptic narratives. Government mistrust fuels visions of hidden elites and alien overlords. For Barkin, the internet accelerated this process, creating a culture of bricolage. I had to look that one up. Basically, it's a fancy word for a collection of stuff, where believers freely borrow and remix elements from different traditions to construct comprehensive and all-explaining worldviews. Okay, so that's basically in a nutshell what he's saying. He offers, different backups for that. There was a collapse of boundaries between these issues. Conspiracy is marked by a tendency to link together a wide variety of phenomena. Events that seem unrelated are often woven into a single web. This produces what I call super conspiracies, in which multiple conspiracies are believed to be linked together hierarchically. So this is how you have the internet, and then you have these people who are able to tailor the story to meet each sect. Let's say you've got Christianity, you've got New Age people, you've got people who want reform, and here is something that answers all of those questions. It connects the dots, right? And it makes it seem this is it. This is the answer, And so you have the birth of a super conspiracy, which is enabled to spread with the internet globally, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. I mean, look, the internet has basically magnified all this as well.
Yeah, it has.
It's like a playground, and this is the thing too, D, and you've probably seen it, that all of a sudden we've got all these false prophets out there. They're all prophets, and they're all profiting, basically. That's what they are, And they're using the Lord's name for this and the Lord's name for that, and they're also connected to Nesara and Jasara, by the way.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm saying it's this the pseudo Nesara has reached into every walk. They geared it so this is what you want, we got you covered. We got you covered. We got you covered. Now he did want to reflect on this. Sinead Goodwin, Dove of Oneness, and her followers stitched together debt forgiveness, extraterrestrial, space brethren, Christian millennialism, and government secrecy into one single narrative. There's your bullet right there.
And I've got all the proof too on that.
Yeah, so you have the proof for his theory, and so that's great. I love it.
Well, I've got this on the. And that's from her reports, right? So, I've got all the reports, and I've been speaking to you about this. So what she has done, okay, she was interviewed by a news, like a news article, those news papers. And she went on record and she discredited Harvey. So she has done that. Okay. And that matches up with what was in the book as well. So she says here that I explained to the paper's senior editor and reported that all information in the article related to Harvey Barnard and his false claims is totally wrong.
Yeah.
So she actually went on record, and she did say those other things as well.
Mhm.
Now you're seeing this is all carried out.
Yeah.
Everyone, and you can see
that's
where
what-
it's all coming from. That's
Well,
the
that's
thing.
what I said. She knew what she was doing. That this was not
Yeah.
something that she just fell into, or hey, this is a good idea. I can make some money. She knew exactly what she was doing.
Look at this. The Harvey Barnard person claims that they wrote the National Economic Stabilization. This is from her own words,
Mhm.
which was the title given from the original www.nesara.com website.
Which is
But the
incorrect.
word stabilization recovery were also never part of the true Nesara law.
What law?
Where do
What
they?
law?
Yeah, I mean, where does she get the gall to do this? I mean, obviously, yeah, from Ramtha. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? It absolutely is so ridiculous.
Right.
Where she came along. When did she come along? Was it in the time of? Oh yeah, that's right. 9/11, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but she was on the scene after the bill was released in the public domain in 1996, because they were talked about. I think it was shortly after that she probably came on the scene, but certainly by the year 2000 and 9/11 is when it really took off, because those 5 years before Harvey died was when he was battling this.
And he obviously wasn't. It was hard for him because obviously his
It was
health
hard
wasn't
for
in
him.
order.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his health was not good, and he did the best he could, and of course his funds were limited, so he did what he could, and then
Well-
as you can see, he went and talked to newspapers, he talked to radio stations, and tried to get as much information out to people as he could.
Well, obviously, what are these con artists? They start off with the, shall we say, all this, look, woo woo, if you want to call it, all the fuzz,
The woo woo.
and then they end up heading towards the grift, right?
Mhm.
And I'm talking about a $5 million grift, and I've got it all here. That's the thing. I mean, guys, everything is here on the Dove reports, and she does speak about, $5 million investments and in Nesara. Look at this. See, you receive 10 million USD. There we go. Nesara Financial Awards. You know what I mean? And she talks about investing $5 million. So this is all on her Dove reports, guys. This is all facts, evidence, and we say from her Dove reports that I've collected everything.
Yeah.
And she says IRS income tax abolished. She goes on, but then she asks for the 5 mil. You know what I mean, D? It's like
It's
and then she
crazy.
talks- yeah.
I don't, yeah. So
Look at that,
There you
$5 million investment. It contradicts everything.
right.
It really does.
It does. And in the chapter afterward, Tiffany quotes her. I believe he talks about Sean Robinson did an interview with her and quoted her. And one of the things that she said was that the Nesara Institute was a front company, I guess you want to call it, put up by the Bushes. Okay?
This one here,
Do
you
you have
talking
it
about?
up there?
Is that the one where she talks about that right there?
This
Can you
is a
see it?
scam. She talks about the actual Nesara Institute being a front for the Bushes. Now,
Right.
I'm not going to get up from here and go to my desk in the back, but I'm going to tell
Do you know what page it is by any
Oh,
chance? I've got all the pages here.
I got it right here. I've got it right here.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Got it.
I can bring it up on the screen.
I don't have a screenshot, but if you look in yours, let's see.
If-
I highlighted it. Okay. It is on page 340 in the paperback.
340, got it right here.
Yeah, bottom of the page and top of the next page. I'll read it. Sean Robinson, reporter for the News Tribune, Tacoma, Washington, interviewed Goodwin at her home in Washington State and published several articles about Dove. The name Harvey Barnard, the retired systems troubleshooter and technical consultant from Louisiana, who wrote a proposed bill called Nesara some 14 years ago as an academic exercise, only to watch Dove co-opt it, came up. This is a scam, Goodwin said. This idiot works for George W. Bush. There's a, okay. Maybe that's not the passage I'm
I've got it right here in front of me.
Okay, right. Dove claims to have ties to the CIA and other FBI circles. She claims Nesara was secretly passed by Congress, is signed into law by Bill Clinton, and somehow suppressed and never announced to the public. Her pseudo Nesara has a much wider scope than the original version proposed by Nesara Institute, which she claims is a Bush-backed front designed to credit the true Nesara law. Let me tell you something about the original Nesara Institute. I have the Articles of Incorporation. Okay. My name is on those Articles of Incorporation. I took care of my dad's business, right? His business, as far as helping him with that kind of stuff. I never knew the Bushes, never met them. And neither did he. So it's just like, okay, that's interesting. That's it.
It is. And it's, her life is, shall we say, one big fat fairy tale. I've been through those reports, right? I've listened to the interviews. Because she went and did interviews here in Australia. She did 3 interviews here in Australia, by the way. She's done interviews all over the place. Now, obviously, you got to look at who's interviewing her and what they're involved with. And obviously, they're involved in the same sort of thing to do with that woo-woo and nothing based on facts, evidence, and receipts. And you can see that she's always on a late night show where nobody bothers listening to, right? It's one of those shows.
Right.
But it's just consistent. You can see, then she talks about, you heard about what Saint Germain is all about, right? You know that, right?
Yes.
And someone that basically the other day got made an example of, and thank God for that, because, people need to see that.
Right. They do.
Because there was real circumstances where a lady went to court and lost her house. And she went with that Nesara, the pseudo Nesara Jasara business list that they got from those websites. And they went there and took it as court documents, as in legal, as in, this is the real deal. And basically they lost, right? And as they do. And it was because of the Queen of, that one there, the Queen of Canada. Now, the Queen of Canada got made an example the other day, and she got made an example again. Now, getting back to what I'm saying, the double oneness, everything comes from her. It's just everything reeks from that direction. Do you know what I mean?
Where it all started. Yeah.
It's all there. And what really I don't get, Dee, is that people still believe it. That's the thing. Even though you will show them the facts and some receipts, they still choose to believe it.
Yeah, that's why I went from the angle that I did, because I thought, and this is just, in my own personal beliefs and critical thinking. Okay, so it's the year 2000. I'm hearing about this Dove and her Nesara. I'm jumping in the game, right? Okay. It's 25 years later. I have kids. They've grown up. They're having kids, and I'm still waiting. And so I said, okay, why? And I understand now, if they're doing a little bit more research, why that happens. But that's what I'm saying. I wanted to find out the desire for a utopian world, the belief that a Messiah is coming to save us. Whatever that Messiah looks like for you is coming to save us. I don't have to worry. I don't have to be responsible. And then coupled with the fact of a super conspiracy being birthed for all of the reasons that we've listed, And so I don't fault anybody for that, I mean, it's time to wake up. That's what we're here for, right? It's time to wake up and look at the evidence, and the thing about it is we are responsible. Okay, we're responsible. No one is coming to save us. Okay, people have to be responsible for themselves and their prosperity and the prosperity of their kids and so forth. And the way to do that is to get the education and learn what's real, what's not. And so when Washington comes down, or wherever in the world it is, the government officials come down and say, hey, we've got this bill, we want to pass this. You can compare it to what you've read either in Draining the Swamp or somewhere else and say, you know what? No, I don't like that. How about this? But if we don't get proactive and get involved in that, then, some people say, oh, you deserve what you get if you don't get involved.
So let's just talk about facts, right? Because I
Yeah.
love facts, right? Number one, we know that, and President Trump has gone on record. He keeps talking about 1913, when they created the Federal Reserve, right? We know that's unlawful. That is unlawful what they did, right?
Right.
That's fact.
Right.
Also, the IRS has got its own patch of land, and we know that is also unlawful. President Trump is actually showing us by example by actually removing some key players from the Fed right now.
Yes.
Now, you're also seeing that gold is increasing in value. That's fact, right? What
Yes,
I'm saying
yes.
to you is all fact, right?
Right.
So you can see that they are preparing. And if you go to facts as well, it's in Congress.gov, the bill to go back to gold standard, right? So it's all there. Everything is lining up. To abolish the IRS is there as well. Now let's talk about HR 25, right? Now I
Yes.
did that example. Remember I did that
Right.
during the Kraken, right? So for example, you've got HR 25, which people think, oh, you get rid of the IRS, right?
It's not
Now,
a good bill. We do not want HR 25.
No.
Yeah.
We don't want that bill, but what we do want is to get rid of the IRS. And President Trump said to use tariffs instead. Like, that's all factual as well.
Right. That's what.
So basically, you eliminate income tax. I think it's a great idea. And getting rid of the IRS, because the IRS has been, shall we say, look, we say the head of the Leviathan is over there in Washington, right? That's where it is, right? The Fed, all that, because it all trickles down worldwide. They've got branches, and these branches go Australia, they go all over the world, right? Now, in order to get rid of all that structure, all that system, you've got to cut the head off the Leviathan, don't you?
Right.
So the tentacles wither away. So, in other words, President Trump is doing that, and we can see it. It's all happening in front of our very eyes. And you're seeing that even the countries around the world, they're increasing their stockpile in gold, which is indicative that they're getting ready to get rid of the fiat currency system.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
The other thing is, which is fact, the Fed, because I think I explained this to you the other day, Dean. How they work is like this. So the bank are the ones to, obviously, you go to the bank, they can create money out of thin air. That's fact. Right? It's only zeros and ones. Now, they hold on to the collateral of your property as collateral, your property, right? However, they sell the debt. That's all factual as well, right? And they sell it off to the Fed. That's why the Fed can control the interest rate, right? So the interest rate, when it goes up, that sort of thing. So in other words, when you get rid of the Fed, think about it from a logical standpoint that you are going to get rid of those mechanisms, right? Which is debt slavery, right? Which is
correct.
That's all real. That's all factual, right? Fiat currency is basically something, as I said, that is based on nothing, no value at all.
It's an IOU for an IOU.
Exactly. And it goes back to the days of the goldsmith.
Harvey explains all of that in the book. In the very
That's
first
what I'm saying.
chapter.
But
yeah,
do you see what I mean? Everything that we're explaining, it's factual. So we are using organic methods and ways to explain how these debt mechanisms will impact our daily lives, which is great. Yeah. It's great. Yeah. It is. So going back to a gold-backed currency, it gives us fair one-on-one, because President Trump also speaks about is the fact that how China are able to manipulate the currency, which means they're able to reduce the currency. Therefore, they enticed all the manufacturers.
The manufacturers to go there. Right.
And the technology. That's the thing. So they enticed them, the chip manufacturers, all that, over to China. Therefore, it became a national security issue, because everything that we rely upon, even in America, everything that's been built is with these chips. And these chips, you think about it, the enemy, if you want to call them the enemy, they are the ones that manufacture it. Therefore, they're able to get into it and say you're shooting a missile over there. No, we're going to put it back in the other direction. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
They're able to do that. So President Trump created these executive orders and all that in place, and the tariffs also as a way of regaining that power. So basically, bringing back Intel, bringing back AMD, bringing back all those manufacturers, because it is a national security threat, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It absolutely
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So
totally.
I can see that all this all comes from here.
What he's doing is, as you hold it up, is mirroring what is in this book. Okay. So
I love this book.
Get educated, and you can follow along, and you'll know what's coming. But there's so much basic stuff in there, like you were explaining about how currency is created and how it works with the Fed and the pattern that's covered in here, and we're going to talk about that in the next show. So people,
that's gonna be amazing.
I know we all learned this stuff in junior high school, but for me personally, junior high school was a long time ago. So refresher course on how it's working now and what those changes the freedom it'll actually give us.
Well, I'm looking forward to having some common sense.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well, and we're moving that direction. We're moving that direction.
Well, this is what it's all about, Dee. I mean, we spoke about this in pre-show, as in, how do you overcome this issue? And you nailed it, right? You want to share with the audience what we discussed?
Well, I don't know. We were talking a long time. What did I say?
Okay, so we were discussing how do we combat the pseudo Nesara and Gesara and these fictitious embellishments.
Oh, you mean just by getting the truth out there and educating? Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Re-education. So knowledge.
All we have to do is we have to, okay, first of all, it is to say, wherever you are, wherever you're coming from, whatever belief, it doesn't matter. Okay. This is the truth, right? So learn about it so that you're armed with the information to make your own decisions, right? And you can decide for yourself. Right. That's kind of where we are,
Well, one more thing before. Okay. So, the Ramtha business, right? So the Ramtha, the Enlightenment School. Now, this is another example. And I like giving examples because it's all based on facts, right? Mm-hmm. So obviously Ramtha is an entity. This lady channels over there, and we're talking about channeling, right? Mm-hmm. So apparently the Dove of Oneness, or Akashane Goodwin, can channel this entity over here, known as Saint Germain, because she speaks on Saint Germain's behalf. Now, you heard that movie Waiting for Nesara, and you could hear these beings that were, I was just trying to keep it with a straight face. But you hear them, and they're making all these noises like they're channeling somebody, and and then they're coughing because they couldn't keep it up, But look at this, the Dove speaks for Saint Germain. I, Saint Germain, the Ascended Master and Chief Representative of the High Council, the Great Light Brotherhood of Earth's Ascended Masters, here like Sananda, who happens to be Jesus, right? That's what they call him, Sananda. Hereby released all Earth humans and members of the extraterrestrial forces from their vows of secrecy and silence regarding interactions and communications with ascended masters who are involved with Earth. I, Saint Germain, encourage all of you to speak freely regarding the ascended masters overseeing the divine plan activities on Earth. So she goes on and on and on. Now you can see this is coming from the school, right? Mm-hmm. It's clear as daylight, right? So it's obviously to do with channeling, okay? And that's also, that links up with her history.
Right.
Do you see what I'm trying to do with the connections?
Yeah, well, you made the connection there, where she started, where she learned, and then she took those skills and moved forward. So.
Exactly. So it's about showing history, and you can see that, look at that movie, and that book, Change is on the Horizon, with good old James Rink. He's mentioning Saint Germain in there as well. And then they're always mentioning Saint Germain. So Saint Germain's like one of the cast of characters involved. Then you got the ascended masters like Sananda, right? Then you got all the Palladians and everything else in between, right? Now we want things to be factual, guys. Seriously, right? If it's true, let it be true, right? But at this point, we want to go with what is fact, and that's what empowers us, is the truth, isn't it?
You've got to separate your personal your beliefs, okay, and whatever you consider a higher power, whether that's God in the Christian sect, whether you want to believe in star seeds and channeling or none of that. That's all fine and good. Has nothing to do with reality here on earth and fiscal reform. I know in the New Age movement, they talk about levels of dimensions, fourth dimension, fifth dimension. We're still in the 3D, guys. So this is where we are, and this is where these are the things that we have to deal with. So you just got to separate them. You got to separate them.
And look, when you mentioned about the CIA, well, here it is. It's in the Dove reports again. Dove, Nesara, and Dove being smeared by. This is from the reports. I've got all the reports, guys. I've got it all. People don't realize what I've got. You know what I mean?
Right.
In 2004. Hello, dear friends and the White Knights. Yeah. Who are the White Knights? It's something that she created. All right. Apparently, they're the ones that they saved the day. Look at this. The term White Knights is, because you hear it quite frequently, right? We've heard it, right? Is borrowed from the Wall Street Journal. Really now? Wall Street Journal? Isn't that what President Trump talks against all the time? And the world of big business hostile takeovers, when a vulnerable company is rescued from a hostile takeover by a white knight, corporation, or wealthy person. Certainly these people fighting to bring Americans and the world the benefits of Nesara and to rescue our people from the government and the banking fraud. So what they do is, banking is basically set up in fraud, right? Even a world economist has said that the economy, shall we say the model, or how they got models, economic models, banking's never has been included in there because banking is something that they created. It's got nothing to do with the economy. Now, banking fraud deserves be called white knights. World Court is the International Court of Justice. Yeah, okay, but do you see what she's doing? She's mixing
it up, just like we talked about. Yeah, so you're mixing something that has got substance with things that are unrelated, but yet appeal to a certain group of people. And again, like I was talking about earlier, you're connecting the dots. And so I've got something for everybody. No matter where you are, I've got your answer. Right. This is it. I've got your answer. And again, with the internet, it just goes ballistic.
Just accusing a deceitful reporter known as SR to be working as a CIA agent who wrote the lies about Nesara. So it's the same thing. Remember?
Yeah, Quadaloos, wasn't that Jennifer? I don't remember her last name, but she was the one that wrote the Quadaloos.
You heard even Mr. James Rink from that movie Changes on the Horizon, and he called Quadaloos a CIA, that they're operated by the CIA. Yeah. Again, so you can see, again, where Mr. James Rink gets it from. Everything that I've been showing has been connecting to his movie Changes on the Horizon. And, and that's what I'm saying. I mean, where did you heard about the other one, the farmers.
Oh yeah, you did in depth on that
claims. That comes from her as well, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, it comes all from her, right? And it's look at this. It's to do with all these claims that she makes. It's all here, It's there we go, proven in the Farm and Union 1993 case. But because it's under gag order, like everything else is under gag order, we can't see it. And that's the excuse that they use. You see, look at this, right?
Yeah.
Over and over again.
And that's what's so amazing to me is we have a plan here.
Look at this.
Okay. And they've not been able to produce anything. Okay. There is no Security and Reformation Act.
Look at this. How Mr. James Rinks and Mr. Nick Alvier from his movie, they sit there and they talk about Farm Claim Act and programs, and it all comes from her. Everything comes from that direction, D. And then you think to yourself, well, how can these, and you know what? People should ask for a refund. I'm sorry.
Right.
Because you know what? You're getting rolled. You really are.
You're getting rolled. That's a nice way to put it. Yeah, you're getting rolled. Well, I can tell you how, when I was talking about the internet and spreading this, and I may have told you this earlier in the week, but I want to tell our listeners. You had me working on some software issues and stuff, and yeah, look, this guy has given me homework this week. I have learned more new software programs in a week than I've learned in a year. And one of the things, the challenges he gave me was to set up a merchandise store, which, okay, I said, I'm going to do it. Took me a while. It took me like 7 days. Anyway, I finished it. It was 11:30 one night. And I said, okay, God, it's done. Everything's linked. Great. I went to go take a shower. 25 minutes. I got out of the shower and I said, hey, you know what? I have the link and it's supposed to be up. Let me just check. I pull it up on my phone and it says, AI comes up and says, the Nesara shop, which I'm going to share with you guys, .com is probably a fictitious site used by conspiracy theorists, blah, blah, blah. And I said, I just went live 25 minutes ago. You don't know anything about me, and underneath that was some fact check stuff, which I'm going to go into when we do homework.
Yeah.
Okay. So I thought, this is what I've been up against. It's so ingrained, not only in the people, but in the databases. And that's going to be the challenge for us. And I've got a little way to so people can get active and help. I remember when Q used to call for, what was it, digital soldiers? Okay. So there you go. They're going to use that. But now here's some good news. Here's some good news. And all is not lost. Right below that was the post for Harvey's book. And so we were second up in line. I said, okay, we are making some headway now. At least they can compare and see. But yeah.
You remember Wiki, and I spoke to you about Wikipedia, and you said, and I said, look, they done something, they changed something. And then you had a look, you said, yeah, no, they've done something, but then they didn't change the way they're supposed to do it.
What they are doing on Wikipedia is it says that Harvey wrote the Security and Reformation Act, which he did not. We know that, right?
Make sure they get that one.
I challenged myself and I went into Wikipedia and I started the process of the challenge process and all that kind of stuff to get them to change that. Now, everything else that they say is fine. Okay. They point out Dove and they talk about the conspiracies and all that's right there in Wikipedia. It's just the information they have about Harvey is incorrect. And I said, okay, we're going to get that corrected. So, chipping away at it. Chipping away at it.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
But you know what? Everything that we're producing is all factual. What have they produced? Everything that, the thing is how they operate. I know people, they want to believe all these things, right? I get it. There are people that are hurting. There are a lot of people suffering. I get it. And they're the ones that they prey on, you know that? The ones that are, doing it hard.
Exactly.
And they do it. And you see, it's a consistent pattern. Like I said, D, right? Look, Double One, it's 2001, that tragedy, 9/11. Then she created all that other stuff about, the Nesara pseudo, I'm going to call it the pseudo Nesara, being on that building over there and the gun to the head with Bill Clinton. It all comes from her. Everything's in those Dove reports, guys. You don't know, all of it comes from there. That's the thing.
What's, and looking through the stuff that you brought out, it's kind of made up as you went along. Whatever, one good thing, con artists are able to adapt. Okay, so I'm going to tell you this thing, I'm going to tell you that thing. Whatever objection you have, I'm going to reframe, redirect to convince you that I have the right story, even though I don't have any proof. And that, I think that's what is the most amazing part is.
Well, we talk about psychology, right? And I'm a big fan of, obviously, when you know about psychology, you can basically get the crux as to what they're all about, right? Now, what a con artist does is they mix fact with fiction to give grounding to their story, right? To their, whatever it is, their con, whatever. It's basically to do that, right? Now, that's how they operate. And then also they use, shall we say, a crisis. They never let a crisis go to waste.
Yeah.
That's another thing.
Yeah.
It's true, D.
No, it
really
is. It is. And you know, and that's the MO. That's the MO. And so what we have to do is we have to recognize that, and we have to combat it. So that more people can learn the truth.
Exactly. I mean, look, they use, okay, so for example, and this is the thing, everything stems from this thing. I just can't believe it. I mean, you've seen how, you know, with that little flow chart, how everything comes from the top down to the bottom, and everything up the top starts with the pseudo Nesara Gesara right there, right at the top, and then everything connects down. Do you know that? It's like branches, everything, med beds, QFS, RV,
it all
so forth and so forth. Yeah, it all goes from there. And then there, you know, you've seen these entities that have created their own little shows, and you see who they're connected to, and it's like a spider web. It literally is. They've created an echo chamber. So basically, they've created like the mainstream media. You know how we got the top ones that control all the branches, right? And whatever narrative they have, they spread it, right? And it becomes what we call an echo chamber effect, right? So we call Operation Mockingbird. That's all factual as well. That's all what they did. Now, you heard it from here, you heard it from there, you heard it from here, you heard it from there. It must be true. It's exactly the same thing they do. They created a network of this whole thing, and because you hear it in so many different directions, that they think it's all factual. And then they flood the web. So they flood the web. They flood the searches. And then basically you got AI that's trying to piece together.
Right.
You know, something.
Well,
you know how they use AI.
Yeah, Mark Barkham's example, I mean, to the letter of how super conspiracies are born. And that's the path. You have an answer for everybody. It can morph, it can change to fit anybody's situation. Then you have the spread on the internet, and boom, it becomes what is perceived as truth.
You know, it's like being, you could see, right? So start from her, then as it's progressed, it's like, you know, like a Chinese whisper, if you will. It's gotten louder and louder and manipulated, like the grapevine, you know, by the time you get it. But it's a different version of it. And you can see that it's evolved throughout the ages, right? So it's evolved from the time she did it. It was known as pseudo Nesara, we'll call it. Then she started branching out and creating these subgroups, which, you know, she did worldwide. And I'm not talking about like a lot of people, selected people. Then they started spreading her message in their countries, right? That's shall we say, the infancy of Gesara, the pseudo Gesara. You could see that it was heading towards that direction. Yeah. So she had already planned it. Because you think about it, right? National. Why go national when you can go global and make a lot more money?
Why stop there? Well, yeah. Why stop there when I can? All I have to do is add a few little lines on my ditto sheet, and boom, I've got the world in my hands. Yeah.
Well, it's like McDonald's, right? McDonald's started in the States, then that Kroc took it to another level, and then it became global, you know, worldwide. Now, it's the same deal with that. It's so ridiculous. And this is the thing. I mean, these groups have increased in numbers, and it's like, where do you start? And the only way we can start is with the truth. That's the only way, guys. That's the only way, by doing what we're doing now. At the very beginning, as you said, you know, as we said, D, it's going to take some time. Re-education does take time.
It does.
Right? But people are going to realize on their own, shall we say, hey, maybe we've been lied to, because the promises are going to basically fall down into a heap, right?
Right.
And what they're doing is they're consistently making, because you know this Nesara business, like she's been saying, announce it, right? You've been seeing, back in the day, what did she do? She had investors, right? That's investors, I don't know, stupid people.
Right. Yeah, well, and so, she's going out there soliciting people with money to support her in her pseudo Nesara. And while Harvey is sitting back and not having those kinds of avenues or being able to do that, is, you know, the real one is left in the shadows.
Well, I've got some photos of what she did.
Okay. All right, let's take a look.
That's
Oh, I read about that. I've never seen the photo.
I got a website, love. Don't you worry.
Okay.
All right, you know me.
Yeah,
I'm a deep diver.
talk about that. John Tiffany talks about that in the chapter we're discussing tonight. Afterward, the Nesara story about the billboards and the trucks that she had drive around Washington. And I know that my father, I know that made him just ill. You know.
I mean, your father went there in great intentions.
Yeah.
To
in good faith.
In good faith, yes. To do what he had to do for America, right? Now, obviously, that impacts the world. Think about it. That's where everything comes from. Now, she put out, I think it was about 2 or 3 of these things. Let me show you I've got them right here. 4 actually. 5?
5. There were 5. Yeah, there were 5.
Yeah, one here behind. Look at that right there, ladies and gentlemen. Right there. So that was basically in front of the people's house. Now, have a look at these photos of people. Okay, what do?
Yeah, there they are.
That's in 2004.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just the year before your dad passed, right?
Yes.
Now, look at that. What's there? Her little business.
.us.
Yes, that's hers.
Mm-hmm.
And look at that. I mean, these people, they, like in that movie, Waiting for Nesara, they're the victims. I call them victims.
They are the victims. Yeah.
Right? Let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
And then you got, look at this. This is in, I think, The Hague. So they went there and they did this business. And then, this apparently is Sananda, the ascended master of Jesus. They said something along those lines. It's it's a very, no, this is Sananda, sorry. That's someone else. But yeah, they said this is Sananda.
Yeah.
So I've been to the website and I've seen it all. These photos are real. Actually,
and I'm looking at those people in that picture. The standing outside the White House there, and it's just, it hits my heart. Because like you said, that they were victims, and that's exactly, you couldn't have said it better. They trusted, they believed, and they thought that they were supporting something of substance.
That's the thing,
and they're not.
And we can't hold them responsible.
No, absolutely not. That's what I said in the beginning. The clear distinction has to be made between the people who are true believers, who are hardworking people who want a better life, and the people who grift. And,
exactly.
Do you want me to do the thing that I was explaining about justice?
Yeah, might as well.
Okay, might as well.
Yes.
Okay, so we talk about seeking justice toward these grifters, and that day may or may not come in a legal manner. Now, if it does, great, and we are not giving up on that. I want to make that very clear.
No, we need to make that very clear.
Oh, no, we're going to make that very clear.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, things take time, right? But there are more ways that higher powers, divine intervention, whatever you want to call it, exact justice. And I'm going to use an example here. Q, a lot of people who follow the Q movement were disappointed at certain stages during that when nobody got arrested. Okay, so the big people are still out there. Nobody got arrested. And I'll use Hillary as an example. She hasn't been arrested, of course. But if you take someone like Hillary Clinton, who is at that level of power, that level of influence and money, and also possesses the character that we have seen demonstrated time and time again, it's very well documented. And that person is now rendered irrelevant in the public eye. That mental box is of a lot more pain than any bars could ever be. You see what I'm saying?
I just can't wait till the Alcatraz is ready.
That's on a completely different subject. That's
right
here.
Put them all there.
Right? Yeah. But you see what I'm saying? they're, as you said, they're not going to be able to walk down the street and stuff like that. So there is the court of public opinion, which, holds a great deal of value.
Now, do you want to go through your website? Because I've got it.
Oh, you want to do that? Okay.
Yeah,
so,
do you want to? Have you got it there, or do you want me to bring it up?
Oh, no, I've got it right here. And I can
you're a legend. Rightio.
Okay.
Let me just bring it up, love.
Okay, I've got it on the screen there.
Here we go.
There we go. Okay. So this is our website. We are the Nesara, it's NesaraInstitute.com. And this is our homepage. As you can see, you can scroll down, got a picture of the book. There's some tabs here that you can click on to go to Barnes & Noble, or the Kindle version, or the paperback, which are on Amazon. A little section about Harvey, and you can learn more about the author. We'll go to that page next. Just basically read through this. There are some people who have, commented on the book here and his work. You can also hear the interview. There's a link right here to hear the interview that FCB was playing earlier. The blog here, I've got a couple of things up, and feel free to share this. Please share this information. Is what is Nesara really? And it's a closer look at what Harvey's bill actually will do for Americans and whomever, again, around the world. And then also the facts versus myths little statement that I put out, which basically is supported by all the research that FCB and I have both done. And so please share that with people. What else is on our website here? We have another page that goes in a little bit more detail about Harvey and the bill.
Oh, sorry, I got the wrong. I've got the wrong thing. No. I've got. I'm still getting used to this. So excuse me.
Okay, I'm just scrolling.
Yeah, no, I'm thinking. Why are you scrolling and nothing's happening?
Okay.
Do you want to do that again? Sorry.
Okay. I'm gonna go back home. I'm gonna go back to the home. Okay, now you're with me. All right. So we've got about the book, information, about a little bit more about the book and what the overall summary of it is. Different people who have commented on the book and given a statement there. The interview with Harvey, like I said, that's the one that you were playing earlier. And it is an 8.5-minute interview that he did with a radio station. And he talks about HR 25 even back then. So as we move on, we want to get into these bills that are up there. HR 25 is not the same. So we'll cover that in another show. Okay, so here's a link to my Facebook page. I'm not on Twitter or Instagram, and it's old, so that's a little Twitter. I know it's X now, whatever. But I do have a Facebook page. You can click on here. Okay, yeah, I know. And so here's the Facebook page. Is what the top of it looks like, and I do a lot of posts there, as you can see. So you can keep up with what's going on there. Go back to here. Let's see. All right. Now, the next little section, this is more about Harvey and actually the bill, telling you what it's all about. The blog will take you to the 2 articles I was talking about, and please share those.
Fact versus myth. Yeah.
Fact versus myth. And then what is Nesara really? This is how you contact. These emails come to me. Okay. So as we're moving through the book study, if you've got questions, send me an email. If you got questions in general, just send me an email. Okay. I answer my emails as quickly as I can. Okay. And if you've got something you want to ask for the next coming show, send me an email so I can be prepared. Then, of course, this is FCB's fault. This is all his fault. This is all
blame me. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I am. He said, you got to get some t-shirts. I said, okay. So,
well, you know what? I want one. I want to get one. So, you know,
well, I got a surprise for you and everybody else. Just hold on.
Okay, love. Okay, awesome. I love surprises too.
Okay, here is just a few little products I put out. Yeah, this one in particular actually has asked me about the real Nesara on the back of the t-shirt. So I thought that was kind of
Have
cute.
you got that in black?
I have a black long sleeve right now, but I just designed like 7 products, but I can get one.
You've done well.
Ask me about the real Nesara in a black t-shirt with white print, if that's what you would like.
Yes, please.
Here's the deal. I never intended to do this merchandise thing. So at his urging, I did it. But here's how I feel about it. my mom, Jean, as y'all know, she's 79. She'll be 80 soon, and she's still working. And she is still working because she has, well, I say house note. We say house note here, but a mortgage due. And my husband and I help her out with that, every chance we can. When we help her with the maintenance of the house and that kind of stuff. But I want her out from under that. So all the profits that we get from this, I'm going to pay the principal on her house. Okay. And I'm gonna have a little thing going on the Facebook page that's going to show you exactly facts, evidence, and receipts, what the balance is, how much we're knocking off of that. And because it's one of my goals, to honor my father is to make sure that she's okay. So
I reckon it'd be a cool t-shirt, your dad's picture on there.
Oh, that would be good.
With the glasses. Yeah. I reckon it'll look really cool.
That would be good. I
can help you with a design if you like.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that's my forte.
Okay. Let's work together on it. Yeah. So there's our website, and you can click click the paperback down. Now, this is something I need to show y'all. This will take you to the Amazon. We have it on sale right now for $37. Okay, for the paperback. The Kindle
US, right?
$24.99. This is US, yeah. So this is United States. I want to make sure that people understand. Again, like with the hardbacks, people will buy them and resell them. I have seen some of these paperbacks for resale as well. So this is the real one. This is our site. So get the real deal. I can continue to do this through the sale of the books. So.
There you go. An idea. Another one, which I was thinking of too, but Robin beat me to it. Draining the swamp t-shirt. Yeah, I think that'd be a great one too.
You want that one? Okay. All right.
Yeah, we'll drain the swamp creatures.
All right.
Yeah, like President Trump.
All right. All right.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea.
Okay, great. Yeah, I love the creative end of that. I really do like designing. That's kind of a, an enjoyment process of release. So.
That's a great idea. I mean, being I think you got musician in your blood too, haven't you, love?
I was a DJ for probably, I guess, around 10 years. I had my own company, did weddings, parties, company functions. I had a couple of sound systems and some crews that worked for me. And I enjoyed that. I did. And my husband, who is in the power line industry, went and took a job, and he worked on helicopters. He worked on power lines from a helicopter. I don't know if you've ever seen
that's awesome.
Okay,
I've seen that.
He was the guy that was sitting on the side of the helicopter working on the power lines.
That's amazing.
So he took off, and he was gone. I mean, in and out, but he was working all around, the globe for about 16 years. And I said, I don't want to do this by myself. So I decided to go get a 9-to-5 job. And I did. And I worked for a real estate and construction business. And I, prior to that, I had been in banking, bank teller, head teller, that kind of stuff. And so I was kind of the girl Friday and doing the books and that kind of stuff. And then I subsequently ended up working for the treatment facility, and started there, front desk, admissions, that kind of stuff, and then moved up to be the administrator. And but I enjoyed DJing. I really did. It was fun. It was great. And it was nice to make people feel, be happy, that kind of stuff.
Oh, look, music's great. And,
yeah, it is. Yeah, my husband's family is all musical, and so very successful. Very successful.
And like your husband plays great guitar, yeah?
He does. He plays guitar. Awesome. He plays piano, trombone. Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's really good. That's really good.
All right.
So I reckon it's a great idea. I mean, guys, I'm going to go and get one of these t-shirts. I can't wait. Because I want to shove it up people's bum. What the real Nesara is all about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Come and ask me and I'll tell you. Don't you worry about that one.
Right. Yeah. Ask me about the real one, and we can give them a wealth of information.
Obviously these people are like, oh, here comes, the truth now. Here comes the truth. All right. Because the truth has been taking the back seat for way, way, way too long. Now, this is the thing, I mean, look, what is a cult? Do you know what a cult is?
Classic definition? No.
Okay. Basically, a cult has got a follow. So they've got followers and a leader, right? Okay. And whatever the leader comes up with, okay, that's based on nothing, just on, their prophecies and just thin air, they believe without question, right? There's something psychological behind a cult, isn't it? There's something definitely, and it's always the same people. They always go after the weak-minded and the ones that are wanting, okay, we all want a better life. We all get it, but we want it to be factual, right? And that's what it is. Is what empowers us. Now, today, ladies and gentlemen, we live in the world of the influencers. You can call that a cult as well, right? That's what it is. Yeah. Because that word right there, I'm an empowerer, meaning, and I've got a saying, you've heard this saying probably 2D. You give someone a fish, they eat for a day. You teach somebody to fish, they eat for a lifetime. That's an empowerer. Someone that is an influencer is someone that influences basically a narrative. And they believe anything that comes out of their mouth without question. There's a word for that. It's called axiom. You heard of the word axiom?
Yes, I have.
Yeah. So they believe anything without even validating it. You know what I mean? And we're living in the world of influencers, and unfortunately, these influencers, they're making a shitload of money. Pardon my French, but they're making a lot of money.
They are.
And you know what? Who's to blame? Sorry, but I'm going to say it. YouTube, Rumble, all them. They're enabling these fraudsters. Right. That's the reality. And even social media, and then they call it freedom of speech. That's what they say. So freedom of speech is like they enable fraud. There's fraud and there's freedom of speech. There's a difference, isn't there? There's a contrast.
Right. Yeah. Well, and then now you can see when I was out there trying to spread the truth, and I kept getting flagged and banned, and because I was going against what was accepted as the norm in the algorithms, and so they said no, boot it, and so that's how deeply entrenched it is, and we have to combat that. We can't do it. I can do it by myself. We need help. We need help to do that.
We do.
Yeah.
How about we open up some questions? What do you reckon, Dave, from the audience?
Sure, I'll try to answer anything I can. So.
Okay, we'll open up the chat, guys. So anyone that has a question, please, number one, put a Q next to it. I love Q. Make Q for question.
All right.
And then put your question next to it. So then it's easy for us to grab it, identify it, and bring it up on the screen. So if you've got any questions for Dee or myself or both of us, please pop it up there, because this is, I like to interact. I think interaction is great.
Yeah, I think it's great. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And to open up, and because look, we want to address everybody's concerns. I know we've all been taken down the garden path, right? And credit to everybody that's woken up. Honestly, credit to you all. Give yourselves
courage.
A pat on the back.
It takes courage, and I want to say that you were talking to a gentleman, I believe it was on another show, and he was expressing, hey, I was wrong. And he felt really bad. It was like he was berating himself. And I thought, that young man has so much courage. That takes great courage to stand up and say, yeah, I was wrong, in a public forum,
Well, that's it. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm not there to, oh, yeah, you're wrong, kick you in the stomach. No, it's not like that.
No.
You can't be like that. Now, you've seen the situation that, with the vaccines, the bioweapon, whatever you want to call it. Okay. And look, it's a very touchy subject. It really is.
It really is. Yeah.
Okay. Now, that's where things are obviously coming to the forefront. RFK is bringing a lot of things out, which are truth. And it's time for the truth to come out. That's what we're doing right now. I think it's perfect. Perfect timing. I think nothing happens by coincidence.
Right.
Everything happens by design. And I truly believe that this is all happening for a reason. We've come like a sort of full circle, if you will. You know what I mean?
Right.
So you think about the Q, right? So Q, actually, President Trump, that's his movement. He created it, right? And he's even gone down a record and called himself Q+. So he's got that. That's all there, right? That's all factual, right? So in other words, that movement was to the Great Awakening. And people are sort of like, when's this going to happen? No, it's been happening.
It's been happening. It was a rousing success, and that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
A lot of people were complaining, "Oh, Q wasn't successful because no one got arrested." You're looking at it wrong. Let's go up to about 30,000 feet. Did you read the fine print? The Great Awakening. Okay, so do you really think that people would have pushed back worldwide on the COVID restrictions had Q not woken them up to question everything? Make you think about what you're being told? No, that would have never happened. So from that standpoint, like I said, it's a huge success. It did exactly what it set out to do.
Well, you think about it, use the Socratic method. So the Socratic method, it doesn't give you the answers, right? You have to think.
To go, right. You have to think yourself. You have to go find them. That's right. That's right.
Okay. And that's the thing. You have to think. So it gets you to enable you to do the research, and remember, what happens when you don't think, you get atrophy. You don't use your muscles, you get atrophy. It's about obviously getting people to think again, because they wanted a nation of, remember, Rockefellers. You heard what they say, their quote. We want a nation not of thinkers, of workers.
The workers.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't want people to think, because if they think, that's why they created all these things about the iPads and all this. And they don't want people to do the mathematics, because mathematics involves logic, thinking, and all that sort of thing. Like your dad would have, known all about this. Yeah. Now, you see, today's society, they've been dumbing down our children in every which way possible. Food, forget about it. It's highly processed. I spoke about it the other day. Mm-hmm. It's disgusting. Yeah. They really manipulate us on many levels. Now, here we go. That's a question from Little Genie 3. Do you think President Trump will enact all your father's ideas or introduce it to Congress?
Well, that's a good question. I think that the concepts in my father's bill, certainly we can see, as FCB was pointing out, mirrored in President Trump's methods and probably his plans. The only thing that I view it differently, because I'm obviously not privy to what he's doing, but separate bills for things makes me feel of a tire that's being patched. Okay, so we have a bill to do the IRS. We have a bill to do banking. We have a bill for the Federal Reserve. That's a patch. Eventually, you have to change the whole tire. Harvey, being a systems analyst, has the entire system, closed-in system. So, I certainly wouldn't get ahead of President Trump, but things look promising, Well, look, that we're heading in the right direction. You certainly have to agree with that. So.
Well, look at the title, number 1.
Yeah.
What does he say? Training? I played it at the start of the intro, right?
Yeah.
Now, also, as you said, like you're seeing all these things, these bills in Congress.gov, they're all there. Gold back standard, the Fed, the abolishment of the Fed, all that's all there, right? So realistically speaking, Harvey's work, it's being translated in there. It's all, you can see it. It's all there. Going back to the biometallic currency, like, gold, silver, backing, that's all there as well. So, you know what I mean? You can see.
Yeah, you can see the similarities. Absolutely.
Exactly. So, and you've sent him copies, and I'm sure he's got a copy of it. Don't you worry about that one, because, okay, when your father went there, let's see if we can bring up that photo. I love that photo of your dad.
Okay, yeah,
and
that's a
that
good
one. Now, who was that gentleman?
That was his friend Mike. And Mike,
is he still around?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe Mike is still alive. Very old,
try
but he's
and,
still alive. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great if we can get in contact with him.
Okay, all right. I'll try to reach out to him and see
if we can get him on the show or something.
A few words with us, and he can. Oh my goodness, I'm sure he could share a lot about Harvey. They were very, very close friends. They worked together, and Mike supported Harvey's work wholeheartedly, and so they went together. And the one that you have the photo of, the bill.
I'll get it. Don't worry.
Okay, you got it. There's the picture, and
he's got the bill in his hand. Is that?
Yeah. Well, he's got the big binder. I think that's what it is in his hand.
Have you got that still?
I have the binder. No, I have the binder.
Okay, so when he went to over there to Congress, or where we went to Congress? Is that just tell us that what happened?
Okay, so what happened was he had 1,000 copies of the National Economic Stabilization and Recovery Act printed in that little booklet. That, remember, I've shown it. I held it up in my first YouTube video.
Yes, yes.
They had 1,000 copies of that, and he went up there, he and Mike, and they
This one?
Yes, sir. That's it. Okay. Underneath that is the first manuscript of Draining the Swamp. He was working on it, the gray one.
Is it
yeah.
This one here?
Yeah, the gray one.
Okay.
And so he took those up there and he started knocking on doors. And that was it. And he met with as many people as would meet with him. And he didn't just go once. He went back several times and kept at it. That was the discs where he had it backed up. And I think a lot of people have been watching know that story. That
crazy. Says 95, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it does.
Yeah.
And that is his handwriting.
And then underneath he's got a tape.
That's the tape that has that interview on it.
The one that
it's on the website and you shared it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I come with facts, evidence, and receipts too.
Oh, you do, darling. Don't you worry about that. I know you look.
I bring it. So
that day,
they went up
your
there.
Your dad was happy?
My dad was always happy. I'm telling you, he was the kind of person you would not know if he was upset, if he was angry. I think I saw him angry once. Okay. He always had a smile on his face. He had nice things to say about people. Just generally a good spirit, a good-hearted person.
How old was he there?
Okay, so let's see. That probably would have been 64, late 50s, 60s, maybe.
So he made an appointment to see somebody there?
I don't know if they actually made appointments. I'm sure that they had an initial appointment with someone, but Mike and Harvey were the kind to just strike out, and strike out on a limb and go, okay, we're going. And they would, go and
like a road trip. Let's go over there and
let's go over here.
Give them our
Let's ask
stuff.
these people. Hey, let's ask these people. Let's talk to these people. And so, like I said, they went back several times.
That was in 1990, wasn't it? 1990.
That was yes, that was in the early 90s. So let's see, he would have been in mid 50s probably.
Right. Okay. So in the early 1990s.
Yeah.
And obviously the president back then in the 1990s was good old Clinton, wasn't it? Was it Clinton?
Oh yes, it was Clinton. Yeah. Was it Clinton in the 90s? Early 90s?
I think it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's just make sure, because that's the one that got the gun to the head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one there.
I think it was closer to the end of the 90s.
Bill Clinton. When was he the president? Let's have a look, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, 1993 to 2001.
Okay. Yeah.
So, he would have went there, and that would have been the time when he was in as president.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see obviously how everything's shaped up, because she speaks about Bill Clinton, doesn't she?
She does.
She said that he was replaced by a clone and all that sort of stuff, and no facts of receipts to prove it all.
I have a letter. I don't know if I sent you a copy of that, but I have a letter from Clinton's chief.
I think I've seen it. Yeah. Let me see if I can find it, love.
Okay. This was after he was out of office. And President Clinton, I'm speaking of, he was out of office because he was referred to as former president. But I believe Harvey had reached out to him to sponsor the bill, to help spread the word about the bill, that kind of stuff. And his Clinton's chief of staff at that time, Miss Karen. I've got the letter right over here, and go get it if you can't find it. But she, wrote and said, no, sorry, President Clinton can't entertain that at this time. They get a lot of requests and blah, 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 and good luck. And, it was a basic letter, but it came directly from the office of the former President Bill Clinton.
Yeah, I did see it, and I remember seeing it. D.
It would have been on.
Have you got it? Yeah,
I have the real thing. I don't have it scanned.
Okay, just hold it up to the screen if you got it.
Okay.
Because we're about facts and receipts here.
Okay, you got to hold on.
We got the proposals. What else do we have here? There's a lot here, guys. We got all the documents. Don't you worry about that one. Don't worry. We'll get to the questions very soon. Let's see. Where is it? I'm sure I've got it somewhere.
Okay, here we go. So let's see if we can get this up to the camera. I don't know if you can read it, but can you see
Okay.
that?
So yes, I can see it.
Okay.
Okay. Hold it there. Hold it there. There we go. There we go, guys. Can you see it? I blew this whole thing up so you can see it better. Because you know we're about the truth.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
There you go.
Okay.
So that's the letter.
That's the letter, and it was signed by a Miss Karen. I'll turn it around and read it to you. It was signed by Miss Karen Tramontano.
I've got it too.
Okay.
Yeah, let me show you on the screen now. There
Okay,
you
show
go.
me on the screen.
Okay, here we go, guys. All right, I'm going to have to go here. There we go.
Okay, I'll read it to you real quick. Office of William Jefferson Clinton, April 11th, 2001. Harvey Barnard, the Sarah Institute, address, blah, blah. Dear Mr. Barnard, thank you so much for your letter requesting that President Clinton become a national spokesman of Nesara Institute's fiscal and monetary policy. It is a great honor to be considered for such a role, and the former president sincerely appreciates your interest. Unfortunately, he is unable to accommodate your request and cannot lend his name to your cause. As you can imagine, we are currently overwhelmed with such requests and sadly cannot accept them all. Former Clinton does, however, wish you and your organization great success. Thank you for your interest. Sincerely, Karen Tramontano, Chief of Staff to former President Clinton.
Yeah, but apparently, the double dumbness. Sorry, I have to double oneness. She got it. He's under. They're all under gag order, and she couldn't show you any proof. Like everything else, there's always some excuse, isn't there, with them?
Correct.
And that's the thing. I mean, look, that's the other thing with con artists. They've always got some excuse. Gag order, sealed documents, and they keep going on and on and on. Now, anyone can go out there and, let's be honest, and make a whole story. They can. And then they can say, oh, no, I can't say a damn thing because I'm under gag order. And then, people believe it. That's the thing. People are just, honestly, they don't.
They're looking for utopia, like we talked about. They're looking for someone to come and save them, which brings us full circle back to we are responsible. Our prosperity is up to us. And it's just, we have to take responsibility for our kids and for our grandkids and make this a better world for them. Bottom line. No one's coming to save us. Oh, good. Okay.
Question from Stella Kamen.
Okay.
Do you think there will be a level playing field? Well, I reckon there will be, because obviously when you back everything by gold, it provides stability. Hence why that word right there, stabilization.
Right. Well, it's not just the bimetallic backing of our currency, but also in that first section is the banking reform changes, which is the elimination of.
Don't say that word, please. Not reform.
Not reform. Okay, sorry.
No.
The changes to the banking industry, which would call for the elimination of compound interest. Okay, and the way that banks earn their money. No one is talking about. Harvey is not talking about bankers should be in the breadline. Okay, they do a service. They should be treated as they do a service, and they should get paid. But the compound interest thing is gone. So if you have a secured loan for property, house, car, whatever it is that you have secured, they cannot charge you compound interest. That would be outlawed. So that's one of the things. Now, if you want to swing over to the taxation part of it and talk about a level playing field, then you've got, I'll bring up HR 25. This is just the perfect example. Harvey's bill calls for no tax on necessities of life. Okay. Food, rent, medicine, medical services, that kind of thing. Which means that people of a lower income have a shot, right? Those are the people that are spending money on these kinds of items. So they're not going to be paying as much of that sales tax. If you have money and you're buying cars and furs, you're going to pay more of the sales tax, which levels the playing field of rich versus poor, if you want to, get that to it. HR 25 does not make that exception. What it does is if you are at the poverty level earning $36,000 a year, the government is going to give you a kickback of $690 a month. Okay. This supposedly reimburses you for what they're calling the 23% tax, which is really 30%. But if you're making $40,000, $50,000, $60,000, which I know many people who are, and they are struggling, there's no provision for you. And so I don't see it as fair, and certainly not as fair as what is in the Stabilization and Reformation Act.
Okay, I've got an example that I did on the Kraken. If I want to bring it up. Okay. Now just see if we're on par. So basically, HR 25 abolishes, well, it says the IRS, but then you got the state sales tax example, 7%, right? Now each state has its own, shall we say, let me just bring up that, different tax rate, right? Different sales tax rate.
Right.
Then that is tax inclusive. So basically, let's work on that principle right there. See, I did that little formula. Like, if, you add the national sales tax of 23%, which is in that HR 25 bill. So therefore, you're adding 7% plus 23%, which equals 30%.
Right.
Now the purchase item becomes, instead of $100, it becomes, you add the 30%. $130, and I think that's what we're trying to say, right?
Right. And so what Harvey was saying is 14% instead of the 23. And then again, the items that are not taxable. In addition, in the taxation portion of Stabilization Act, certain raw materials that are used in manufacturing goods are not taxed. Capital gains tax goes away. So corporations, as Trump is bringing corporations back here to do business in the United States, to be housed in the United States through tariffs, this is an incentive for them to stay here. Okay?
That's your state right there, love.
There it is. There we go. 10.12%. Yeah, I was about to say you were using 7. I said, well, that's a little low for us, but
no, because I'm going by an example. But look at this. So every state has its own percentage. You know what I mean? So, for example, you're in another state, it'll be 8.2. Say in Texas.
Yeah.
Right. And then you move across, and then one of the lowest ones, which is okay. So Hawaii's at 4.5. What's AK, if you don't mind me asking?
Arkansas? Is that Arkansas?
Yeah, that looks like it's in the water.
Okay. No, I'm just looking at the AK.
Yeah, no, I don't know what that is. Must be somewhere. But yeah, they're at 1.82%. 46 state? What is it? I thought there's only 40. Is it how many states?
There's 50 states.
Okay, so there's 46. That's states. Okay, what is that one? What's AK? Anyone in the chat know? That's interesting. But then you got these ones. Is that Oregon?
That's Oregon.
And then you got Montana, and they're not. What? Are they not paying sales tax?
Some states don't have sales tax.
That's interesting.
Yeah. What is it in New York?
Yeah, New York is over here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's 8.53.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, it's like open slather, anything goes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's ridiculous, isn't it?
All right.
And you know what? It's about creating a level playing field. But think about this: the gold, it does provide a 1-to-1 ratio. So think about the currency manipulation, right? So we talk about worldwide as well. Mm-hmm. Currency can be manipulated, and President Trump speaks about it, and all he wants is a level playing field, which I think is perfect. Right. Therefore, you need stability, stabilization. Gold provides that stabilization. Yes. Now, Q also says about gold shall destroy Fed. That makes perfect sense as well.
Yeah.
So, and that's also in Congress.gov as well. As I said, that bill is in there as well to be passed about going back to the gold standard. JFK back in the day, it was talking about silver as well, remember?
Right. Well, the Stabilization Act calls for both, and when the Federal Reserve is disbanded, there will be the formation of a what he's proposing is a formation of a treasury service, national treasury service, and their job is to make sure that the exchange rates for gold and silver, to set a stable rate to back up our currency. That's their only job. Okay?
Right.
And they have to do that.
Got a question.
Yeah.
So obviously, we're talking about crypto now, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, I've heard you speak about tokenization and all that in one of your comments, right? In your video.
Yeah.
Now, remember back in the day when Harvey was around, that was in its infancy, Bitcoin and all that. I think it was really in its infancy.
Yeah.
So realistically speaking, it wasn't even part of Did Harvey ever come to any conclusions of
Oh no,
anything
that
like
wasn't
that?
a thing. When he was writing this bill, and I have very strong convictions about digital currency.
Right. Okay. So Wolf Breed is actually Breed Noble has actually said you should go to become a speaker at one of the Rod of Iron Freedom festivals where General Flynn will be. And he said, I'm
Is
sure
he
will.
to me?
Yes.
Oh my
So
God.
Wolf Breed is a lovely man.
Okay.
And he's met General Flynn.
Wow.
Now, you could, if you'd like, obviously, I don't know where that's going to be held. It shouldn't be far from you. Obviously, it's travel.
Yeah. Well, it's closer than it is to you. So
yeah, well, exactly that.
Is it okay? I can say that. Wolf, send me an email. Go to the website, drop me an email, fill me in, and we'll talk. So
yeah, so if you can do that, Wolf, send D an email. That'd be great.
yeah.
And you could obviously General Flynn. You know how important he is, and
yeah.
the other thing is that he says is that we need to take local action. That's what he keeps telling us.
Mm-hmm.
You need to take action because, okay, that can only do so much. At the end of the day, we've got to do our bit. I tell people that all the time. We all got to do our bit. That's what we're doing right now. Mm-hmm. We're doing our bit to get the truth out there, right?
Right. And we need the digital soldiers to help us. So
exactly. You heard that God's Army?
God's
we all
Army,
got to do our bit.
Soldiers. Yeah.
Now, here's another one.
Okay.
Do you want to read that?
Will you reach out to President Trump in stopping the grifters? I think President Trump is busy enough. And like I explained earlier, we are discussing what can and cannot be done against these people. But the bottom line is the court of public opinion stings a whole lot. And so as these people are outed and people begin to understand that they are grifters, it'll take care of itself.
You know what? I'll add to that too, darling. Number one, all right, President Trump made Space Force and space. This is all factual. Whatever I'm telling you, it's all based on facts and receipts.
Right.
So President Trump made Space Force the number one branch in the military. That's fact, right? Mm-hmm. He's very proud of it. He speaks about it.
Yes.
Now, also, you've even seen J.D. Vance and even President Trump says they control cyberspace, right? Mm-hmm. So they sit there and they got it all. They got it all. Don't you worry.
Oh yeah, they have everything. Yeah, there's nothing.
President Trump is a strategist, and he sits back and he allows things to happen. That's how it is. Now, you think they're not sitting and watching and knowing what these entities are doing? Don't you worry. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They are, and like I said, he 4D chess. He's way ahead. He's always ahead.
Oh yeah, he is. He is. He's a very intelligent man.
Brilliant man.
Now, let me just say, I'm sure we've got some more questions, D. Okay. People loving it. Here we go. There's one for you. Yeah, that's the one we spoke about too.
I don't think I can say that on answer that one on.
We'll try and be as polite as we can.
My mother is upset. My mother is a firecracker, and she loved Harvey, and she saw how much it hurt him, and she didn't like it. But she moved on. After he died, and she moved on with it, and she put it behind her. but I'm going to have her on soon. I'm going to do a little recording with her, and we're going to have y'all going to get to meet Jean. And like I said, she's 79, and she takes no prisoners. So
I
you'll
love her
enjoy that.
already.
You'll enjoy that. And
I love
she'll
her
be a
already.
wealth of information. Yeah, she'll be a wealth of information. So
Oh, she's going to be
thank you
awesome.
for asking about her, though. I appreciate that.
Okay, the next one. What do you foresee is the greatest challenge in getting the truth about Nesara?
Okay. Combating the misinformation and convincing people, and especially the computers, that it's misinformation. And I do use ChatGPT, even though I'm still on the fence about AI. And in my conversations, one of the first ones when I went and asked it for some information, it came back with security and report. And I said, oh, no. And I said, this is me, and I'm telling you, this is what happened. And it went, oh, and it went back and it checked and it came forward and said, oh yeah, you're right. I'll make a note and put that in my database. Okay. So the more of that happens, the more prevalent the truth will be in the databases. And when I was doing my research, they said Wikipedia is the root. Okay. So when you pull up information, whether it's from ChatGPT or AI, they're going to Wikipedia for the root. So that has to be accurate. In our case, it's not. I've started that process, trying to get them to change the information about Harvey. If you pull up Nesara on Wikipedia, you will see they talk about the double oneness. I mean, that's one of the things that, we were talking about people who are believing. I was easily able to access myth versus fact, not just because I am who I am or what I've got, but it was right there, So the greatest challenge is just making people aware. And that means spreading the word.
Okay, I've got this one, next one.
Okay.
Now, during the time, the rainbow currency, they come from the double oneness, and she was talking about President Reagan putting him in the banks, not, obviously gag orders all around the place like she always does. Okay, but also found it in her, in her Dove reports, by the way. Right, everything's there. It shouldn't be a surprise.
Right.
Everything comes from her. We must remember, where do you think these cast of characters that you see today, all the grifters, get their information from? It's all from there. Let me just show you something very quickly, love. I know it's very painful for all of us. This is in 2004, March 13th. Nesara Precious Metals confirms prosperity deliveries. Very interesting. Thank you very much, Dovey. Hello, dear friends and White Knights. Let's not forget about them. Today, I'm writing about several Nesara-related topics, right? Blah blah blah, and basically most of the precious metals backed the U.S. Treasury rainbow currency are not in locations under control of the current Bush regime government. The Bush regime has fought to keep Nesara from being announced, and the Clinton administration also opposed Nesara. Nesara requires the current administration and Congress must resign their position within hours of Nesara's announcement. In the case of Bush Jr. and Cheney, they were ordered by World Court to film the film.
Who is World Court?
Video.
Who is World Court?
I don't know. And then the World Court had to find Bush Jr. and Cheney. Sorry. It's just like, and then the people who bring us Nesara are the people I call
the White Knights.
The White Knights. And then you see that in James Rink's film. And then it's just like, it just carries on to this very day, love.
It does.
And then you got the other business, the actual, the American currency reimagined artwork that was brought out in 2018 that they used this load of garbage for this 2020 business. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When James Rink did this thing, it's just, it's gone on and on and on, and it's been unaddressed. And like I said, we left a vacuum. They were able to do whatever they wanted. And had I not been when I was talking earlier about, selling the hardbacks and people, we sold them all over the world, and they kept contacting me. So there were people that knew the truth, that believed it, true believers, and they said, please, please do something about this. Please come out. Please share his work in a format for everybody. And had it not been for them asking me, I probably wouldn't have gone down this road. It's been tough, but I just felt like, and then, like I said, when in typesetting the book, I got to the chapter afterward, the Nesara story, the one we're talking about today, and that's when it changed for me.
I know you, look, we're going to wrap it up very soon.
Are you ready?
But there's some more quick questions if I can slide it in. What do you reckon?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, let's do it.
What are your strong convictions on crypto? So that'll be very interesting to hear, Dee.
Okay. We're speaking of digital currency, right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Digital currency is dangerous. Okay. It is too much control. I'm going to try to give you an example here, and I'm going to use Australia. So just kind of stick with me on this little rabbit trail.
Yeah, I will. Don't you worry.
Okay, stick with me. Okay. So in Australia, the citizens there, unfortunately, gave up their right to bear arms. It was a moment of weakness, and they gave it up. Now, if you have looked at whatever you want to call it, New World Order, Deep State, UN, whatever you want to title them, their agenda is for total population control. Okay, one of the ways to do that is to remove your weapons. Okay, the United States here, they know that is not going to happen. Okay. They can have false flags. They can have, all of these horrible shootings. Americans are not going to give up their right to bear arms. Okay, so they're going to take a different tact. Here comes digital currency. All right. Digital currency, pandemics and wars will wipe out the human race. Okay. Digital currency will enslave it for eons. If you have digital currency, everything is in a database, okay? It is controlled by whoever's in power and or the algorithms, all right? So now it's done with biometric, your fingerprint or your iris scan, and what food you can buy, how much, what kind of fuel you can have, anything that you buy, your house, all that kind of stuff can be controlled by that database. Well, I want to buy a gun. I want to buy some bullets. No, database says no. You see, run around the back, through the back door. I don't like digital currency. And then it's going to be a hard press sell to get me to say, okay.
Fair enough. Another question. If we spend our money on silver, how do we know if silver is real? I mean, obviously there's metallic tests and you buy from a reputable dealer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It comes down to that. Isn't it right, Dee?
Yeah, that's the only way I know is if you're going to buy silver or gold, any precious metal, make sure that your dealer is certified and that you can verify that,
That's right. And then also, don't go and buy gold from grifters, please. Don't do that because, number one, you're asking for trouble, okay? Now, we've shown you many examples of what they've been up to, what they do and everything like that. Now, they're lying about this. They're going to lie about so many different things. So why go? And at the end of the day, you're relying on these people for intel and you're getting a bunch of lies and deception, and then you're going to invest in their... Are you serious? You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
And then you've got this virtual gold as well.
If you're going to buy it yourself, there's investments where you can have your IRA in gold and silver or precious metals. But if you're actually going to buy it yourself, just make sure you're dealing with someone reputable. Get references, check them out, all that kind of stuff. So.
And this is the thing also. I mean, this virtual gold, you've heard about that, right? That incident, these things where people buy... And these companies put the gold in the safe for you. But then I've done some research, love. And the thing is, you are relying on somebody. If they go bankrupt, the government does not back you up at all. You lose all your investment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the reality right there.
Virtual, digital, again, I'm maybe just an old lady. I'm a 62-year-old lady from Louisiana. Okay. I have been through hurricanes, been days and days without power. And there are many people that have been through natural disasters. I cannot put my faith in something I can unplug from the wall. That's just that simple. Now, I'm not saying don't use your debit cards and credit cards, but a way to people feel helpless. They feel like I can't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You can on a certain level. If you're buying stuff online or you're ordering, you're going to need to use your debit, credit card, whatever. But when you're going to the grocery store or to get your gas or running down to McDonald's, use cash. Use cash.
Then we got
no problem.
So KYZ Rumble question: what do you want people to do going forward?
Okay, you want it's homework time? You got the homework screen? Oh no, I was saying bring up the homework screen and we'll go through that. Did I send it to you?
Have we got it?
No, I have it, but I thought I sent it to you. Hang on.
Okay.
It was the last
homework screen. Which one's that? I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm gonna jump over here and get it.
Yeah, let's see where that is. Where is that?
Okay. I've got it on my share screen right now.
Is it this one here?
Combating misinformation.
Combating misinformation. Is that the one on Meta? Yeah. No, that's the one there. Okay, let me bring it up. I got it. Okay,
got
give me a quick sec.
All right.
Here we go, love.
So we'll do this and call it an evening. Okay.
Yes.
So there's several things that we can do. Like I said, we are now in the phase of spreading the truth. We know the grifters, we know what they're doing and all that kind of stuff, but it's our job to get the truth out. As I was talking about earlier, when I checked a website that I had just opened for the store, the computer said, this is fake. So what you can do, and I want to blow this up a little bit so I can read this. Okay. Anywhere you
blow it up more?
But that's fine. I've got it on my side screen here. Anywhere you see a claim that Harvey F. Barnard is the author of the pseudo Nesara, okay, the Security and Reformation Act, right? Do the following. Okay, usually below these claims, there is a fact check box which appears under the post, and there's also a link that says "See why our fact checkers say so," and that leads you to a third-party fact checker. You click through that, and you will dispute this fact check. Okay. When you dispute it, you provide evidence. It could be something as simple as please check your sources. Refer to Harvey Barnard's book, Draining the Swamp. Now, what happens is the more people that do that, then Meta system will flag the fact check for reviews. Okay. But it's a numbers game. You've got to stay at it. And you're scrolling and you're seeing stuff. And if this is a subject you're interested in, it's probably going to be in your feed. And that is something that you can take on a personal level to help spread the truth. Other than the fact of sharing the book, sharing the website, giving the blogs out there to people. Join our Facebook page. We're going to have information that's going out and share that. So that's where we are right now. It's a spread the truth mission.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, I'm looking forward to the following week.
Okay.
What do we got in store for the next week, love? Just so we can give people the heads up.
Yeah, I think we're going to do chapters 1 and 2, which is some history of money and what you were talking about earlier of how our money works here and how it's made, actually how it's created, the fiat debt currency, the IOU for the IOU. And so chapters 1 and 2, read those, and I'll do a little outline and synopsis. If you have questions while you're reading these chapters, shoot me an email. Okay.
So chapter 1 is back to basics, the nature of money. Yes,
that is correct. Back to basics, the nature of money, and then the next chapter.
Chapter 2. It's not much to read anyway. It's pretty quick read.
No, it's very quick reading.
Yes,
to
it is
understanding
certainly
money, debt, money systems. And those are real quick. And we can probably go ahead and hit some of 3 too. We can throw that in there. Okay. And we'll definitely touch base on that. So
Awesome.
okay.
Awesome, guys. Now we thank you for tuning in to us and
thank y'all so much.
your
I
support.
appreciate it.
You go for
Yeah.
love?
Huh?
You say what you want to say?
Oh, I just said yes. I appreciate it so much. Thank y'all. God, this is really great. So
No, this is just
Okay,
the
I'm
beginning,
busy.
guys.
yeah.
This is just the beginning of. Oops, sorry. Where'd you go? She left. No, come back. I don't know why she left, but anyway, this is just the beginning, ladies and gentlemen, of obviously Harvey's work. We're going to bring it to the table. We're going to bring out the real truth. Okay, it's about time that we all started to get this book and start reading it. Let's start by reading this together, chapter 1 and chapter 2, which is going to be obviously the beginning and comprehending what Harvey's been talking about, which is money. Okay? The nature of money. Very fundamental. And we are going to make it in a very easy, shall we say, comprehensible format so everybody gets what's going on. That's what we're going to do. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning into the first, shall we say, ever show. Oh, here we go. We got her right here, but she's come back. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. It just cut me off. I said, okay. I guess
Sorry. No. You know what? I must have pressed the wrong button, love. I'm still trying to work this thing out.
Yeah, I'm learning.
I'm just going through what we're going to discuss.
Okay.
And how important it is that we all get the book so we can have a read, digest it. You know what I mean? So we have time, we go with the show, we explain things. So when people watch the show, they can relate to what we're saying. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Very fundamental.
Right. And again, like I said, if you got questions or just whatever, reach out and I'll have answers for you when we do the next show. So I'm really looking forward to it. This has been fun.
Oh, it has been fun. And it's just the beginning, love, which is great.
Excited. I'm so excited and grateful.
Before we leave, please show your appreciation. We need the algorithm to work. So you need to give us a thumbs up in the video. Let's put some amazing comments. Yeah. All right. And let's share it all around the place because we need to get that algorithm working like everything else. You know how it works on the algorithm, AI. We need to get this message out there. It needs to go out far and wide because remember, we are combating against disinformation that was created deliberately. So disinformation is something that was done deliberately. Then you got misinformation that is done by those that obviously they believe it, therefore they share it. You know what I mean? Right. That's the difference.
And
so we need to.
Go ahead. Well, it's been going on so long that now the computer recognizes it as fact. Okay, so we're not just fighting the grifters and their con, but we're fighting the machine that has the wrong information. So that's why algorithms are important. Like you said, likes, comments, shares, that's vital.
Very, very important. Very, very vital, love. Because, how else are we going to obviously get the message out there? We are fighting against AI. That's the other reality. Not only are we fighting against the internet, so we've had the internet for a long time now. Yeah. Now we've got the new beast, right? Which is AI. AI have been. Sorry, darling.
I said they ranked it up a notch. So.
Oh, they certainly have, and that's the thing. I mean, it extracts all. Like you made it a valid point. Everyone goes to the Wizard of Oz. I call the Wizard of Oz Google, right? You ask questions, and then it basically uses AI and then compiles all these different, so it puts it together from different websites, and then it believes it to be true, where it's mixing fact and fiction again. Right. Then people get confused, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and that's the problem. People don't know what to believe, and so what do? They give up, right? When something gets, people feel like I'm just one person, there's nothing I can do. Well, you get involved and you do the little things that you can, and as we get further along in this, we'll talk about the bill itself and how to, contact your representatives, let them know, make it an issue, that kind of thing, with specific instructions.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning into our show. Let me put D there. I love you being there. So, thank you, D. It was a pleasure, absolute pleasure. And I'm looking forward to each and every week learning Harvey's work. You know what I mean?
It's
Giving
gonna be
him
great
the
fun.
justice that he deserves.
Well, thank you so much for the outlet and the ability to do this. I couldn't do it without you and your team. Y'all have just been so great. So
I want to say thank you to Soren and Carol. And then a big thank you to every one of you. I want to say thank you to all of you for your support, your unwavering support. As we said, we've all got to do our bit. Where we go one, we go all means we're all in this together, right? This is a worldwide effort. We're all in this together because remember, if America falls, so does the rest of the world. And it works in both ways. In other words, when it all comes crumbling down, that whole corruption, that whole system of corruption, it affects the whole world. And we want that. But remember, America is basically the beacon right there. Now, that's why also Q says about if America falls. Because if America was our last hope, remember, they are afraid of the world's greatest militia, them, over there in America. Now, we gave our rights here in Australia, we gave our rights away. It was a false flag and it was portrayed. We know who did it. Now, at the end of the day, we've got to support our brothers and sisters over in the States to keep up the fight over there. And they have been doing an amazing job. Absolutely phenomenal. And you know what? We're all in this together. That's what I'm saying. We all should have each other's backs. Okay. And that's where we go when we go on. It means all of us as a whole. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for tuning into the Nesara show. Until next Saturday, God bless you all. Thank you very much, Dee. Cheers.
thank you. All right. See y'all next week.
I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, and I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, can you feel it coming in the air tonight? Oh Lord. Oh Lord, well, if you told me you were drowning, I would not lend a hand. I've seen your face before, my friend, but I don't know if you know who I am. I was there and I saw what you did. I saw it with my own two eyes. So you couldn't wipe off that grin. I know where you've been. It's all been a pack of lies. And I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord. Well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, I can feel it coming in the air tonight. Oh Lord, well, I've been waiting for this moment for all my life. Oh Lord, oh Lord. I remember, don't worry. How could I ever forget? It's the first time